Why did Kemi Adeosun, former finance minister, Buhari's first tenure as a democratic president of the Federal Republic of Nigeria, why did she resign as the finance minister? So these are more are the questions that have been trailing her resignation since it became a problem to her because of NYSC certificate. Now the court, what is termed as a historic ruling, the Federal High Court in Abuja declared that Kemi Adeosun didn't need NYSC because she wasn't a Nigerian. Now the question is, how did she now become a Nigerian? Former Minister of Finance Kemi Adeosun had no obligation to produce a National Youth Service Corps certificate to enable her hold public office in Nigeria. Recall that Kemi Adeosun resigned as minister in 2018 over the allegation that she presented a forged NYSC exemption certificate as part of her credential, which is one of the reasons, if not just the main reason, why she resigned, because she claimed that those who gave her, she didn't know that the NYSC certificate that was given to her was forged. However, about almost 3 years ago, after that's 2018, after she left the office as the finance minister, now through her lawyer Wole Olani-Pekun, they approached the court seeking to determine whether or not she was qualified to hold a ministerial position in Nigeria. The court was silent on the allegation that she forged the certificate, but the judge at the High Court held that the Constitution does not require the former minister, Kemi Adeosun, to present an NYSC certificate to hold public office. The court also held that Kemi Adeosun, not being a citizen of Nigeria in 1989 when she graduated from the University of East London, UK, was not eligible to participate in the National Youth Service Scheme. But the question now is, why wasn't she eligible, as at the time she graduated? Adeosun, according to the court, was ineligible to participate in the NYSC scheme because she was not a Nigerian at the time she graduated from the university. Recall that she was born in London, United Kingdom on March 6, 1967. By virtue of her birth in London, she became a United Kingdom citizen. She attended the University of East London, United Kingdom between 1986 and 1989 and graduated with Bachelor of Science Honours in Applied Economics in 1989 at the age of 22. As of 1989, the constitution enforced in Nigeria was the 1979 Constitution. Section 26, subsection 1 and section 3 of the 1979 Constitution states that 1. Subject to the other provisions of this section, a person shall forfeit forthwith his Nigerian citizenship if he acquires or retains the citizenship or nationality of a country other than Nigeria. 3. A citizen of Nigeria by birth shall not forfeit his Nigerian citizenship if, within 12 months of the coming into force of the provisions of this chapter, or of his attaining the age of 21 years, whichever is the later, he renounces the citizenship or nationality of any other country which he may possess. However, according to information available in public domain, at no time did Adeosun, according to Constitution, renounce her United Kingdom citizenship. This translates to the fact that she lost her Nigerian citizenship immediately after she attained the age of 21 years in 1988. So, how did she now suddenly attain Nigerian citizenship? Finally, the 1999 Constitution came into force. Adeosun automatically became a Nigerian citizen by virtue of Section 25, subsection 1, because she was born to Nigerian parents at this time. She was already 30 years old. She then moved to Nigeria at the age of 36 in 2003. The court, in its findings, held that at the time she moved back to Nigeria in 2003, she was not eligible under the NYSC Act to serve the NYSC. In fact, it would have been a criminal offense to her if she had participated in the NYSC scheme under any guise. She is thus by law stopped from participation in the scheme because her age has already crossed. You must be below 30 years before you will serve, but at this time she's already 36. What about exemption certificate? A certificate of exemption that was forged. One may contend that any graduate in employment in Nigeria is expected to have provided his employer with a discharge exemption certificate prior to obtaining the job, as it has been obligated by the provisions of Section 12 of the NYSC Act. Otherwise, the person ought not to be employed. But the lawyer argued that his client, Kemi Adeosun, did not need to present an exemption certificate. Lawyers know how to twist things to get right judgment. He argued that Kemi Adeosun does not need to present an exemption certificate as she was appointed and not employed by the federal government. She was appointed the finance minister and she was not employed. According to the senior lawyer, this distinction was struck and at page 12, where the Court of Appeal held that in relation to the office of a minister, just as she was then in 2018 finance minister, the Chamber Dictionary defines the noun employee as a person employed for wages or salary. The fact is common knowledge that a minister is not employed for wages or salary. So in the judgment, the High Court ruling, they held that she was not in the employment of agency or government and did not have to present a certificate of discharge as a prerequisite for employment. For the avoidance of doubt, participation in the National Youth Service Scheme is not a yardstick to be elected into any of the legislative houses, to be in the state or the National Assembly for ministerial appointment, despite the National Youth Service Corps Act being an integral part of the Constitution by virtue of Section 315 subsection 5 of the Constitution, the judge held. So it is now clear to all of us that one does not need NYSC, or NYSC is not a yardstick to be elected into any of the legislative houses, whether State House of Assembly, Federal House of Assembly, House of Senate. You don't need NYSC or even ministerial appointment. But the question remains this: why did she resign? Now, if she knew that NYSC is not a yardstick to be employed or to be appointed, since the lawyer argued that she was appointed, not employed, so NYSC is for those, the yardstick that for those who have NYSC or those who needs employment is that they must present NYSC. So Kemi Adeosun was appointed the finance minister, so she wasn't employed. And I'm asking, why did she resign? Because the exemption certificate or exemption letter, whatever thing you call it, she presented was forged. Let us call a spade a spade. We know that she doesn't need NYSC certificate to run any public office or to run one public political office or the other, but she presented a forged NYSC exemption letter, and that she's not saying, and that the lawyer was mute about. He didn't say anything about it. He didn't tell us, okay, she presented real exemption letter or NYSC exemption letter of exemption, whatever way you call it. She presented fake letter of exemption. That was why she was criticized and accused, and that led to her resignation. So this is just the truth. So guys, what do you think about Kemi Adeosun?